Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. I'm your host, Nick Dais. At Nick Dais 10, as you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum is at Veterans Minimum. I am joined by a very special guest. Shout out to my guy, Chris Moorhan, for making the connect. That is my guy. That is my Vegas guy. He listens to the show. Big love to him. Met him probably like a decade ago, dude.
Cool guy. He reached out to me just on my TikTok direct messages, I think, and said, "Hey, I own this, poker bar. Come on down. Hook you up with some free play." I went and played, met with him, had some good food, and he's become a good friend. Cool dude. And he hooked me up with you. So thanks, Chris.
Yeah. And every time I go there, he takes care of me with the food too. He blesses it.
Well, that's because he makes some money on the video poker.
Yeah. He's doing well for himself.
Get a free taco and lose $500.
Yeah, shout out to Chris, man. My guy, Vegas Matt.
Yes, that's my new moniker.
Let's go. Matt Morrow in the building. You're a fascinated individual from doing some homework on you, especially once I got to connect with Chris. And then I think I also saw you on John Orlando.
I was on that, like a week
Action
ago
Junkies
or two. Has that aired yet?
I don't know if it's aired yet, but I know that I've had him on the show. He's a friend of the pod, and I've been on his show also. And I think that's when I first saw some of your stuff.
Yeah, that dude's cool. I had a great time on his show. That was fun.
Man, it's a guy like you is fascinating. I love gambling. I love betting. I feel as if there's a difference between the two, betting and gambling.
Yeah.
Do you don't agree?
Well, no, I totally agree. Like,
oh, you do?
I mean, of course, like there's people who are like professional gamblers, and then there's people who just gamble. Like, I mean, if you make a bet and it's an intelligent bet, that's a lot different than just gambling, not knowing what you're doing. Like, me betting on the over, like I have no idea. I mean, but then there's what a lot of people don't understand is that you can play slots and win. I mean, a lot of people don't think that's possible. They think, oh,
you're talking to someone that doesn't think it's possible.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I'm also excited to hear about this, because I like to stay away from machine games.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite game to play at a casino is Texas Hold'em.
Oh, the ultimate Texas Hold'em, the table game, or just Texas Hold'em like with other players?
With other players.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I like the physical interaction. I like being able to make a read off someone. I grew up playing poker. I still play poker. I mean, I haven't played since I moved here back in September because I just haven't had the time to go do it. I don't have the same obsession I did when I was in high school, and then especially when I went over to college.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you before we started recording, I would say I was like a poker kid growing up. Not so much in the sense of like playing it professionally, but I definitely was overly into online poker.
Yeah, you were a full tilt junkie like the rest of them.
Yeah, Poker Stars, Full Tilt, Bovada. I played on all of them, and I've told this story before, but for Christmas when I was 19, that Christmas, I got a gift card for $200. Because, once you're like 19, 20, it's like, you're not going to buy me a toy. You're not going to buy me clothes. Like you don't know if I have it or if it's going to fit me, whatever it might be from family members. So I get a gift card for $200. And the degenerate that I am, I put it in Bovada. And I put it into Poker Stars and Full Tilt and the whole nine. And I turned that $200 into a little bit over $11,000.
Nice run.
Very nice run. To the point where started not going to class. Started not going to school. I'm saying to myself, man, I turned $200 into over $11K. I'm going to be able to do this for real. I'm going to be able to do this professionally.
Yeah.
Told my parents, I was like, I think at the end of this semester, I'm not going to do this school shit no more.
You saved them some money.
Saved them some money. I was making some money. And then Black Friday hits in April of 2011. I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And the U.S. government came in and just said, no more of this online poker shit.
No more 11K for you.
No more. Gone. Couldn't even take out my 200 that I put in there.
Damn.
So all those dreams, Matt, went out the window.
A lot of gambling stories. I mean, it's funny. I posted a YouTube video today, and I was playing a machine, and I lost 11,000 in a machine in about 20 minutes. And one of the things people always give me props for is I'm not just posting my wins all the time. Like, I try to show the realities of gambling. You win some and you lose a lot. So, yeah. But poker is a game of skill. So, I mean, if you were, a good poker player and you know your math and so forth, you're going to beat the noobs, are all day, every day. So that isn't gambling. If you got a skill, so you've got an edge, so you're winning. So it's more like betting, I guess, using your betting versus gambling analogy.
Yeah, I do think there's a difference, especially where I avoid the slot machines.
Hmm.
I avoid the video poker, video craps, video roulette,
Video blackjack.
all of that.
Yeah.
I want a physical dealer. I
Mm.
don't know. Just mentally, I feel as if I might have an edge.
Yeah.
I
Well,
also feel like it eliminates kind of the idea that it might be rigged.
I mean, boy, one of the things that annoys me on podcasts is when people like guests like me like say stuff like they know, because I've seen so much coming out of like some famous people when they're talking about gambling to saying things like they know when I know that they're wrong. And so I always tread lightly with like saying stuff, but I think like the gaming control board here in the US does a really good job of making sure things aren't rigged. I've seen, live games in other countries where I think they're dealing off the bottom of the deck and doing all kinds of shady stuff. Like I would steer clear of those. The machines, at least, it's an algorithm, that you hit the button and it's going to pay out at a certain percentage, So if you look at a video poker game and it's jacks or better that pays, 9 coins for a full house and 6 for a flush, you're at like 99 point something percent payout. And so if you put $1 million through that machine, you did that an infinite number of times, you're only going to lose, 10, 20, $30,000 or something like that. Like, so there's a lot of math in all gambling, and slots are no different.
You were telling me a story right before how you could just tell that a slot machine is due to hit. What was it that you were telling me? Because I find it fascinating because, dude, I've never won on a slot machine, anything. My mom is obsessed with it. There's been times where, my mom came in December. She wanted to hit the slots. And I told her, I was like, mentally, I don't like to gamble at the win because I want to mentally be up on a casino. Since I work here, I'm like, you know what? Let me not. Let me play elsewhere.
Right. Well, okay. So that's like one of those things. Like there's people who, it's almost probably similar to the people who sell their sports picks, and then maybe they like sell like half one side and half the other. I don't know. So the people who say that they know when a machine is going to hit, if it's in some kind of like, woo-woo inner knowledge, I got a feeling, or that one's been fed, those people are overwhelmingly full of shit. However, there are like setups that you can look at. Let's say, for example, you walk up to a machine and it has a progressive jackpot that says it must hit by $10,000. Give an example, okay? A lot of people don't pay much attention to that. They just come up and it says, 9,300, and then they just play it. It probably isn't going to hit till it's 9,994 or something like that on average. Or not, maybe not on average, but I mean, it's going to hit later on in that cycle, okay? And every time you push the button, let's say you put $5 through the machine, the little clicker goes up a penny. So for every $500 you put through the machine, it goes up $1. So if you walked up to a machine and you happened upon, they're really hard to find, but you happened upon a must hit that was at like 9,900, that if you put $50,000 through that machine, it's going to get to 10,000. You're going to get a $10,000 payday no matter what. You put $50,000 through that machine, and there's maybe a machine like that probably has like a 10% holdback. So they're going to hold 5,000 and you're going to make 10,000. So, mathematically speaking, hypothetically, it's a $5,000 win. Now, you might get stuck and have a bad run and lose 30,000 chasing that 10,000. There ain't no guarantees, but you can set yourself up. And again,
but aren't you still down though?
Me? Oh yeah. I'm not saying I'm that guy. I'm not smart enough.
Oh, you're using, okay. I got you.
But I mean, just if someone does a Google search on advantage slot play, I mean, it's not like it's a big secret. You know what I mean? There are people who beat the casinos at slots. It's way harder. Like I could try to tell you everything I know about it, which isn't all that much. I know enough to be dangerous. I know a lot more than the average person, but most people, even if they knew everything, they don't have the discipline to do what it takes to make a living playing slots. I mean, I play in dumb games all the time. I mean, I'm playing, Wheel of Fortune. The other day, I lost like $5,000 playing Wheel of Fortune just because I thought it'd make a good video, So like, I'm no threat. I've probably lost $100,000 so far this year, already.
I love the transparency.
Yeah. I mean, it's just you're pushing a button. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. I mean, the other day I hit a Huff and Puff machine and I made like, $9,600, and it was like the third time I pushed the button. And other time, then the one I posted today, I lost $11,000 out chasing a $1,000 progressive. I lost $11,000 before the $1,000 progressive hit. So the machine, I don't think the casinos really care, because as long as the button's getting pushed, they know what their mathematical edge is. It's pre-programmed. Some slots are 6%, 8%, 10%, 1%, 3%. Their hold is pre-programmed. If the machine gets an infinite amount of play, the casino's winning. That's why the casinos love the slot machines.
Oh yeah, it's also why you see, I think the widest profit margin for casinos is the slot machines, and also why they give you free vouchers to go play slots.
Yeah.
Because like, what is it to give someone $500 to go play at the slot machines?
Yeah, it gets them in there, and then they get, then they do what we usually do. We get stuck. And go, oh man, I'm gonna play it down to this, a $500 floor. Okay, wait, 500 more. Boom, boom, boom. Start chasing.
That was their money.
Yeah, that was their.
Yeah,
you lose. Yeah, that's it. And also, there's no labor cost on slots. I mean, you got slot techs, you got to pay the hand pays and stuff, but it's not like they have to pay a dealer, and so forth. Slots are awesome. I love them. I play every day. Walking through the Wynn on the way in here, I saw a machine, caught my eye, and put $100 in, and made $13.75, and it hit the first spin. So just the little things you can look for on slot machines. Nothing like magical, or I'm not sharing any trade secrets or anything like that. But if you look at a game, that has like X number of free games when you hit the silver or the gold or the platinum bonus, and you look for X number of games, maybe the reset, like on Rich Little Piggies, is 9. The blue piggy is 9. You walk by and you see one that's at like 50, free games or wilds. You're gonna, and you play that one. I'd rather play one that had 50 versus one that had 9. Just little silly little things that most people just have absolutely no clue about that can make a big difference in your results playing slots.
What do you think makes slot machines so fascinating to people?
Off the top of my head, I mean, I think it's a dopamine thing, just like watching TikTok and everything else that we're addicted to in the world. Like, I mean, it's an adrenaline or a dopamine rush. Like, that idea you're pushing a button and you might make a lot of money or you might lose a lot of money. It's a total rush, and it's a dangerous addiction. I mean, that's why they have those Gamblers Anonymous pamphlets everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of people that are like hopelessly addicted to gambling.
Yeah,
it's like playing with fire.
Yeah, and there's so many people that you see. Like, I'll walk through a casino sometimes, and I'll just like observe the people that are playing slot machines, and it's always like an elderly person.
Yeah,
feels like they're just punting away their pension,
right?
Their like monthly income that comes in a check.
It's like, I'm just gonna smoke and drink and piss away my money until I die.
And you know what, man? Listen, you put in 30, 40 years at a company, right? Why not? Enjoy it now.
I mean, if you have fun, that's my motto. I saw your shirt, says "Living the Dream," and on my Facebook, it's like Matt Morrow, living the dream, not just talking about it. Like, I haven't had a job since I was like, I got out of college. I was 21. I had like a job for about 10 months, and I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I mean, if you're not having fun, it's not working. I always choose to do things for a living, and I found a way to do things for a living that I enjoy. Like, I like drinking, all right? And I started a wine club and built it into one of the largest wine clubs in the world. I've always liked traveling. I had a travel business, in the 90s, and now I came here retired, and I like gambling. So we get a Delt Royal Flush at the M for $78,000 on a $50 bet. My son films our reaction and the credits going up, and posted it to TikTok. And by the time we're done with dinner, we got all these views, and now this career was born. And so now we post every single day. It's become a business, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're not having fun, I say don't do it. So if someone's having fun with slots, great. If you're pissing away your car payment, you'll follow some guy out, and he's got a car with bald tires and an expired registration, and he's hoping he's going to hit the jackpot. That's sad.
Yeah, I feel like it takes people a while to get to that point where they can have fun, though, because I think it's a hard dynamic to have to juggle. I had a video that went crazy on TikTok too. It's been my best video, where I talk about gambling is the worst addiction. It's the only one you could win in, right? And it's the only one where you can actually see a return, like you said.
Yeah, I remember
right?
you saying that.
You
Yeah.
can actually win money, which is for a lot of people, it's the biggest stress that they have on like a daily occasion.
Yeah.
You know, like I need to have money to pay for this or to survive or just to get by. So that's why I think gambling is so fascinating. I like to say that I bet I don't gamble. It's because when I moved here in September, some of my buddies back home would send me texts and they would say, "Oh, what do you like in tonight's game?" And it's like the Thursday night game. And I would tell them, "No, there's nothing I like." What do you mean there's nothing you like? You have to like something. I was like, "No, there's nothing I like. I'm not going to bet on it."
Right.
Like, no, you have to. It's the Thursday night game. Like, that's the problem. That's gambling.
Yeah, they just want to get in there.
You just want to get your fix in because it's the Thursday night game. It's the Monday night game. Or if you're chasing.
My son gets so mad at me. He's my business partner. He gets so mad at me if I gamble when we're not filming. Last night, I was at Resorts World, had a nice, complimentary meal, which is also kind of funny because you get a complimentary meal, right? We had an $1,100 meal, but I left a $250 tip. I could have just gone and had a $250 meal somewhere else.
Right.
And, but anyway, I was walking out. You had a couple glasses of wine, and I was walking out of the casino, and I was thinking. I told my wife, I go, I didn't know you want to just get 10 grand and fire at Ultimate X Poker for a few minutes, and then a little voice inside my head said, don't do it. Don't just gamble.
Was it because you were sipping?
I mean, I think so. I just love doing it. You know what I mean? But I mean, at this point in time, it just doesn't make any sense if we're not filming. I gamble enough. I don't need to go lose money for no reason. If I'm gonna gamble, I'm gonna film it now. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, because now you're a content creator.
Well,
too.
I mean, it's like I don't care about the gambling so much, because it's awesome. I mean, I almost have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, So when I'm gambling, I mean, that's where I'm making my money. I mean, I'm going to win or lose 10, 20, 30 grand a month. As long as I'm making more than that, then it's a profitable enterprise. I want to be like Mr. Beast, man.
Yeah, yeah. We got a long ways to go for that. Yeah, we all would like to.
Big goals. Yeah.
So one of my questions that I have for you, and I think it could kind of tie into people that like to sports bet or any kind of betting or gambling, is the ebbs and flows of the highs and lows of the gambling. One weekend you go, you win, you hit your parlay, you hit all your bets.
Right.
Dude, there was a weekend when I came to Vegas, best gambling weekend of my life, best betting weekend of my life. I came for a UFC card, and I literally, no exaggeration, Matt, I hit every single bet I made.
Nice.
From about Friday afternoon until Sunday morning, German soccer, Italian soccer, NHL. I don't bet on hockey. Very rarely. Maybe like 3 bets a year. That's because a buddy of mine that really follows hockey might tell me a spot to target. I primarily stick to the 3-4 sports that I do really well in and I know very well. And then from there, it's, if say I have a friend like my buddy Kenny, who I do my show with every Monday. He loves betting on baseball. He's a professional sports bettor back in New Jersey. And baseball is like his main sport that he bets on. If he hits me up and he's like, "Hey man, I really like the Braves tonight."
All right.
That's going to weigh something. That's his field. That's his level of expertise. If you and I are leaving the win later, you're like, "Man, you should hop on this slot machine." Now it's going to be a little bit more enticing for me because it's like, all right, you told me about slots 10 minutes ago that I had never thought of it that way.
Right.
So if someone is putting me on game, I have no issues with tailing that. But that weekend when I was in Vegas, dude, my buddy and I walked from the MGM to the Wynn where we were staying and probably had about $20,000 worth of tickets on us that we didn't cash yet. And we were just like hammered playing roulette, we hit the slot machine too, just punting over our money. And I maybe lost like $1,500 on that walk back to the hotel, but knowing that I had about,
it's a long walk.
Yeah, 20K.
Well, you said the highs and lows, yeah.
Yeah, so my question to you is, how do you deal with, say you have a weekend where you win $10, $20, $30,000, or for your average, the average sports bettor is a $20 bettor, right? I don't know what it would be for table games, but say someone wins what they would make in a month working, they win it in a weekend.
Yeah.
And then the next weekend they lose it all.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the ebbs and flows of what gambling is?
Well, so I did a video called Vegas Matt's 10 Commandments. It's on my YouTube channel. I think it's good that there's some rules, and if you follow them, I think it would really help the average person balance that out, you know, because what you're talking about is variance. Okay, so I play a lot of video poker. You're going to get a royal flush. I think it's every 1 in every 46,000 hands mathematically, or maybe it's 42 or 44, 40 something thousand, I forget. But so every once in a while, you're going to get a royal flush. So I got a royal flush with a 11x multiplier on $2 denomination at Resorts World, my biggest win ever. I won $88,000. Okay, so if you look at the last 12 months of gambling, that $88,000 makes up for a lot of $2 and $3 and $4 and $5,000 losses. So if you're level-headed about it and you're trying to be a disciplined gambler, you just take that and you don't get all excited. But of course, what did I do? Immediately went over to like the Dragon Link machine, started doing $100 spins, thinking, all right, man, I'm on a roll, and then just pissed away 5, 10, 15,000 of it, boom, just like that, and so you don't want to do that because that screws up, because when you get that positive variance, you need to bank it, because you're going to have those, you just like you won every sports bet, you're going to have times, even if you're maybe, where everything just goes the wrong way and you lose everyone.
That's a part of the game, yeah. And I totally can resonate with that, because in sports betting, it's called unit betting, right? So if you're $100 better, right, that will be your 1 unit. If that's all you bet is $100, if you hit a $10,000 parlay, you shouldn't start betting $500,
right? Because
then that's how you start eating into that bankroll. So it's kind of the same concept, where you said you won $88,000 on a $2 spin.
It was 200, but $2 denomination.
Yeah. If you were to start like what you did, you went to other slot machines, and now you're maybe playing $10 denominations.
You're playing too big and you're giving it back.
You're giving it back.
The smart thing, if you want to be a smart gambler, it's just like the difference between the guys who win at sports betting and the guys who are schmucks and lose.
Right.
It's the same thing. And most people are going to lose. I mean, they don't build these beautiful buildings on winners. So slots, I say, just have fun with it. Do your homework, try to figure out, how to like my 10 commandments, like always use your player's card. Some people say, well, I do better when I don't have my player's card, and I'm superstitious. I think if you have
but you're punting away comps and rewards that you can get.
Big time. I mean, this place I don't play at that often, but I play here sometimes. I played here once a few months ago. I walked here today. I swiped my card, $300 in free play. So it's $300 that I would not have had I not used my card last time I was here. So always use your card, especially if you're from out of town. You play at a casino, you play a bunch at a casino. They're going to send you free rooms. They're going to send you free resort credit, meals.
And I think even if you are in town, like I told some of the guys that I train Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I tell some of the guys that I train with, they tell me that they go to casinos or wherever, they might go to dinner with their fiance or their wife. And I'm like, dude, get a player's card. You won't need to worry about parking. Free parking if you're. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, dude, I have a wallet. This is how you know I have issues, ladies and gentlemen. I have a wallet that is just for betting and gambling. It's all, my driver's license isn't in there. No credit cards are in there, but it's all players' cards.
I have a stack about that thick.
Yeah,
with a rubber band around it.
Yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I have one that's just for Vegas. When I was back home in the East Coast, I had one just for Atlantic City and Mohegan Sun and Parks, wherever it was. So, and oftentimes I would go to Atlantic City and maybe I stay at the Borgata, but I just so happened to end up at Bally's or Caesars or Trump's. And then it's like, all right, I have a player's card for this. Let me get the $50 discount or the slot machine, whatever it might be. Got to take advantage of it.
Gambling can be a lot of fun. I've made a lot of really good friends that I've met at machines. And one thing I was going to tell you, a fun story, gambling story. I got invited to a charity poker tournament. And I'm kind of a hack poker player. I'm decent. I'm probably better than your average player. But if someone's really good, poker player, high level poker player, I'm not in that level. But I was in a good mood. I was in a tuxedo. Phil Hellmuth was there. Daniel Negreanu was there. Mike Mattisau was there. Like all these guys I'd seen on TV over the years. And I was just on fire. I was hitting every river, every flush I was making, every straight I was making. It's just unbelievable. And there's like maybe 200-300 people in this tournament. I find myself at the final table with Mattisau. Hellmuth had already been knocked out. He was now like announcing it. Negreanu, all these people. And I won the damn tournament. It was unbelievable. I was out of my mind lucky that day. And the prize was a trip to Richard Branson's island, Necker Island. And So just like this random gambling encounter, because I played that poker, then I end up on Richard Branson's island. Then I end up having dinner, and I sit down to dinner, and then Richard Branson sits down next to me. Like, I didn't dream he'd even be there. You know what I mean? And it was like a life-changing event. The people I met that week and everything that happened. So I don't know, like, I just try to go with the flow, but you never know what's going to happen, who you're going to meet, how it's going to change your life. But I'm not a big fan of like degenerate gambling or gambling addiction, but like, I don't go and buy, $2,000 bottles at the club and, go out and pool parties and spraying champagne and pissing away money. I don't have a Ferrari. I don't have horses. I gamble. It's an entertainment budget. That's a healthy way of gambling. Go to Vegas 2-3 times a year. You have a budget. So it could be a lot of fun. For me, it's just an amazingly fun hobby. Now it's become a hugely profitable hobby.
Yeah, it's fascinating because for me, it's the same thing. Like I've talked about it, how I had I would say a gambling addiction when I was younger. I didn't know how to control it.
Mm-hmm.
It was new to me. I caught fire right away, and I was making thousands of dollars. I was delivering pizza, dude, and I would make $500 a week, and I would gamble 700 of it. So I was always chasing. I was always tailing. And then as I got older, especially once I started creating content, that's really what saved me, because I would get the same fix when I would tell people, hey, take the Cowboys +7. And then I would have fans DM me or send me tweets with the screenshot of their bets.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, man, I feel like I won this bet because now you're listening to me. And then word spreads like, oh, check out this kid's podcast. He's really good with the NFL betting. He's really good with NBA betting, whatever it might be. So that's how I was getting my adrenaline rush and my fix. But, dude, I have a poker story that doesn't end as promising as yours did. But I drove one time all the way to Philly for a poker tournament, $300 buy-in.
Uh-huh.
And it was 25, 50 blind. So it was tournament style. So every 20 minutes, the blind went up. I think first place was like a $50,000 prize. It's like one of those Saturday tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, no exaggeration, I sit down. I'm looking at the table. There's probably like 150 tables being played. It was a WPT.
Okay.
First hand I get, pocket aces.
Yeah. I forget what the percentage is, but it's not a lock.
First hand, pocket aces.
Mm-hmm.
I lose all my chips first hand, pocket aces, $300 buy-in. I rebuy.
Mm-hmm.
2 hands after that, ace king suited. I lose that also. I sat at the table for, I think, 8 minutes. and I drove 5 hours round trip.
Yeah, that happens.
Lost $600 in about 8.5 minutes. I was in and out the casino in a half hour.
It's a lot of it's like
So I just want to paint the picture that sometimes you end up next to Richard Branson.
Yeah.
The other times
you drive 8 hours for no
you drive
reason.
8 hours for no reason.
Yeah, it's just like the whole viral videos. You never know which video is going to go viral. You were
Right.
talking to me about when you interviewed the DEA guys, and just randomly that video it got people's attention. Sometimes we'll post a video and it'll get 100,000 views. Another time we'll post one to get 5 million views. You gotta run the numbers. Just gotta stay in the game and see what happens.
Yeah.
So you say you really like Colombia. You want to go to? I got a place in Medellin you can stay at if you ever go down there. And I say Medellin.
This is archived. This is recorded.
Yes, okay, I said it. Yeah, I got you. Anytime you go to Medellin, let me know.
Listen, there's one thing about me, right? I don't say no to things that are free.
Okay.
So if you're offering, I'm gonna definitely take it up because
let me know your dates.
I've never been. My dream place to visit is Colombia and Tokyo.
Colombia is really, really neat place. It's like, everyone thinks of Pablo Escobar and
that's the reason why I want to go down there.
Yeah, I mean, the Pablo Escobar tour is really cool. I have my guy drive you around. You get to go to his grave. People are still there paying respects. The prison that he made for himself that had a casino in it and had all kinds of parties and girls and stuff. He had his own guards. So I've been to his jail. Place where he died, etc. It's all there in Medellin. And Medellin it's nice. It's not like all hot and humid. It's beautiful temperature. It's like San Diego climate, 80 degrees and nice almost all the time, and beautiful views, beautiful people. It's great food. It's inexpensive and it's safe. I mean, I feel safer there than I do in Vegas sometimes. I mean, it's a really, really cool spot. So definitely go. And then that's sort of like when my retirement, I did a real estate stuff. I got into buying, properties all over the world, and Costa Rica and Colombia are two of my favorite spots and two of my highest producing Airbnbs.
Damn, dude. You mentioned the DA agents that I had told you off air.
Yeah.
There's an episode from a while ago that I had the real DA agents, Stephen Murphy and Javier Pena, that Narcos is based on.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I had them on the show was because what's cool about creating your own content, Matt, is that you're able to sort of cultivate a conversation around the things that you're really interested in. And then it resonates with people that listen to the content, right? So I've been offered in the past opportunities to talk to certain people that I'm just not interested in. They don't have something that they do that I'm intrigued by. When I heard about you and Chris knew right away, he's like, this dude likes to gamble. Nick loves gambling. He talks about betting and gambling. It's going to be a home run, right? So like that's relatable. I don't want to sell something to my audience that they know I'm not interested in, because then it resonates with them. Like I said, they could see through the bluff, to use the poker term, right? They could read right through that. Yeah. So when I had them on, one of the conversations that I had with them was, I always like to tie it back to sports or a general interest of mine. And one of the conversations was like, Colombian soccer in the 80s and 90s, if you look at like the most successful time of their country's soccer origins was then. And then you go to find out that like 17 of the 20 teams are owned by drug lords and cartel members. And then I would be like, dude, was it really that crazy where if Matt was the center forward for Nacional, they'd kidnap Matt's son and girlfriend, wife, and be like, hey, Matt, you know what, man? Tomorrow you're playing Cali. You can't play that well, man, because then, Susie and little Matt are not going to be.
That's hectic. Or you miss that penalty kick, you get beheaded.
Yeah.
Colombian necktie or whatever it is. Yeah, that's crazy. The podcast thing is interesting. I did one for a while. It was called What's Your Deal? So I used to be really heavily involved in the business opportunity space, and people would always call me and pitch me on their deals. They still do to this day. And one of the people I had on mine was John McAfee. And that dude was crazy, man. I tried to have an interview with him, and he would just go off on the most wild tangents. It was the weirdest. I think right after that, I quit doing the podcast. It was like, that was a lot of
Wasn't
effort.
he the security guy? He did the security.
McAfee virus scan. They said he killed his neighbor in Belize. He faked a heart attack, escaped.
I think there's a Netflix special.
Oh, yeah, there definitely is. He's an interesting cat. I mean, he's dead now. I mean, some people think he's still alive, but anyway, yeah, that was different. That was a different podcast for sure. But I just thought it'd be cool to have him on, to your point, just because he's a big name, but the episode was just garbage. I don't know. It's out there somewhere. I think you can still find it.
Yeah, there's been times that I haven't been able to air an episode.
Yeah.
Just because anytime I have someone on the show, I don't know if it's a gift. I don't want to sing my praises too high, but like, I feel like I can have a conversation with anyone. I can bring out the best out of them. I open them up in certain ways to say certain things that they don't say in the past. I mean, I even had my jiu-jitsu coach, Shane, on a couple of weeks ago, one of my better episodes since I moved out here, and he went in detail about his drug addiction. And then he was like, dude, I've never told anyone that outside of like my close circle. And then he said it to thousands of people that listen to the show. So there's been times where I've had conversations with people and it's just like, I'm just not getting nothing from them.
Yeah, well, hopefully this isn't one of those times.
No, it's definitely
I think in this environment, it's hard. I mean, this is so cool. Your studio in the wind.
Yeah.
Like being in here, just really, really, really must be fun.
And also for content creators, if you're in the podcasting space, try your best to do the shows in person. I think one thing that I started doing right before COVID hit in 2020, Matt, was I was starting to travel to certain places. Like I traveled to Vegas. I did a bunch of content. I went down to Florida, did a bunch of content. I went to, I didn't get on a plane, but I went to Connecticut. I went to Jersey. I went to some other places because the in-person interaction is always going to beat the phone or the Zoom. Yeah. It's just way better.
We were talking about that, like a lot of like Tony Robbins and something. They're doing those big Zoom studios. You got Worry Studios here in town, and I just think there's a big difference between like being there in person, like at a big live event, versus doing it on Zoom. Yeah, you can do a lot on it, but there's always, like you said, you like playing against a real dealer, like that human connection. Until the whole world is taken over by AI and we're no longer relevant, and I think I like the human touch.
Yeah, and when it comes to, like I said, the games I like playing is when I go into a casino and I'm with my buddies, we like to do a couple of things. My friends are obsessed with roulette, and I feel like anyone that tells me, do you play roulette or are you just slots?
I mean, I think it's fun. I've made a couple of videos just joking around, like we're down $3,500 I need to make it back. So let's go put 100 on one number and see if we win it back. But I mean, it's the game, depending if it's single zero or double zero, it's a pretty bad game mathematically.
Yeah, the percentages are definitely not in your favor.
Yeah, no.
And I like to say roulette should be hit and go,
Sure.
or not hit. I have a one spin policy. If I go out with my buddies, my favorite show growing up was Entourage. I don't know if you ever saw it on HBO.
Of course.
And guys from Queens, like I am myself. And their thing was before every time they went out, when they were in Atlantic City or in Vegas, they would bet on red. They'd throw $10 to see if it was going to be a good night. It was like a good omen.
Ah, gotcha.
And that's what I'll do. My favorite number is 10. I was like, you know what? Let me throw $100 on 10. If it hits, it hits. And let me throw $100 on red.
Mine's 17.
17? That's your number?
Black. I used to have a company called 17 Black. Entourage, Mark Wahlberg lives here. We talked about Vegas earlier. Remember, like, this is, in my opinion, the best city to live in. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Everywhere else I go, I'm bored. 10 o'clock at night, nothing to do. They're like, oh, you should have been here last weekend. There was a party. It's like Vegas, 24/7, 365, there's a party. There's no state taxes.
And like on a Tuesday also, not just...
I mean, any day. It doesn't matter what day it is. I don't even know what day it is. It doesn't matter because there's always awesome when you're in Vegas. So that's cool that like Mark Wahlberg and a lot of people are moving here, all the sports teams. Now we got the Raiders, which we were talking about earlier. The A's, I guess. Is that official, the A's thing?
Yeah, they're coming in 2025. They're going to be right by the MGM.
Yeah, I heard they're going to tear down the Tropicana and make that a studio or a stadium. Yeah, and then, of course, our Golden Knights. I mean, they're freaking amazing. And Vegas is just the spot, man. This is the greatest place to live. If I have to live in the United States, I'm living here.
Listen, born and raised New Yorker for 31 years. I went to school in Buffalo, so still in New York. I only lived in New York City. I have no desire to go back. Trying to do the best I can to just be able to stay here for the foreseeable future. Yeah. By foreseeable, I mean the rest of the time.
I mean, New York is I'd even say a close second. Like, there's a lot to do in New York, but it's still, I'd rather be in Vegas.
New York City, I wouldn't be as sharp and aware and be the hustler I am. And by hustler, I mean that in the nicest way possible, in the most positive way, in the sense of I want more work. I need more work. I want to, get it.
Mm-hmm. You're not talking hustler like doing 3-card months.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about like, yo, there's an opportunity to make some money. Go film someone. Go do this. Go do that. Go on this podcast. Edit. Or, go do your spot over at VSiN, whatever it might be, creating the content here. I don't know, Matt, if I'd be as aware as I am, as conscious as I am of certain cultures and ethnicities. Growing up in Queens, I think, this is going to sound very naive because I haven't been all over the world, but I can't think of any other places like that where I always talk about this one area in my town, Ditmars Boulevard, where it's like a 10 to 12 block radius where, dude, you could get Arabic food, French food, Korean food, Japanese food, Greek food, Italian, all on the same block.
Yeah.
And then you have your Irish pubs, you have your Greek dance clubs, you have all this stuff, Jamaican food. And it's like, man, it's not like that in many other places. And then when I went to high school, my high school was on the same block. Our high school shared the same block as the Woodside Projects. And we had just so many different cultures. Mm-hmm. We were the only school in the New York City district, public school, that had like, don't go to the right when you get out of school. I would always go to the right because it was the fastest way to get home instead of looping all the way around. So you're just introduced to all these different cultures and ethnicities. And just, I don't think, if I grew up in Vegas, I don't think I'd be as aware as I am had I not. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Of course. One of my favorite movies was about Queens, Coming to America.
Let's go.
That was a great movie.
Let's go.
That was fun.
The Bronx Tale was actually filmed at my high school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
See?
I know it's not Queens, but, well, my high school's in Queens, but it was called the Bronx Tale. But, yeah, it's the best, man. But, again, as you get older, you start making money, you realize, like, taxes and state taxes, and Nevada doesn't have that. And also just the weather's nice, dude.
I mean, it's too hot part of the year. It's too cold part of the year. It's perfect. 2 parts of the year.
Nah, I don't want to hear about the cold. People were telling me it was the coldest winter in Vegas, and it was like 30 degrees 3 days.
My fountain froze, man. I mean, I don't like being cold. I'm shorts and flip-flops. I wear long pants on podcasts because I saw one time wasn't good wearing shorts. But I mean, 99 times out of 100, when you see me, I'm shorts, flip-flops, and a T-shirt. Usually one of my merch T-shirts. The Sando T-shirt is become like, I'll be walking through the casino. People are like, oh, no Sandos tonight. So what happened is,
What was that? What does
okay,
that mean? Is that your
so
nickname?
no, it's a so I was watching Narcos was the first time I saw this, and then the guy who said something, and he's like, "Hey, it's a shit sandwich," and I thought that was kind of a clever terminology, like a shit sandwich. And so like I was gambling, and I hit a bonus, where you're expecting to win thousands of dollars, and I ended up winning like $180. It was like a shit bonus, and so I said, "Man, that was a shit sandwich." And I so whenever a bonus is really unexpectedly bad, I call it a shit sandwich. Now my son says, you shouldn't swear because a lot of times your videos will get demonetized and stuff like that. So I'm always working on swearing. So we modified shit sandwich and we called it a Sando. And so like everyone's like, oh, I hope you don't get any Sandos tonight. So like we must sell like 20 T-shirts a day on my website of the Sando T-shirt. It's like the old Stardust logo.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like one of my sayings.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the meaning of that shirt.
What would you say are some? I know you mentioned the commandments before.
Yeah.
And plug real quick where they could find that video.
Yeah, just on my YouTube channel, which is at Vegas Matt.
Okay.
I mean, that's if you can subscribe. It's like watching a TV show, because it's me and my crew, my son, the banter, going out, finding things to do, playing it, winning, losing, crying, screaming, doing victory laps. Like I think it's fairly entertaining. But we shot a video because we had so many questions about gambling. We shot a video called Vegas Matt's 10 Commandments, and you'll see that. But like the first one is like always use your card,
Right.
like to maximize your comps, maximize your free play. Another one is don't drink and gamble.
Okay, because that was going to be one of mine. So I'm glad that we're on the same page.
Basically, if you want to lose and have bad judgment and so forth, then drink and gamble. Like my biggest loss was $23,000, and it was because I was drinking and gambling. And if you have too many markers, it's too easy to get more money. Give me another 5,000. Give me another 5,000. Pretty soon, I had maxed out my 1,000 in cash that I had, my 20,000 in markers, and I got a 10% bump. They gave me another 2,000. So I lost $23,000. Worst night ever. Why? Because I was drinking. Like another one of my commandments is do as I say, not as I do, because I'm always breaking them. Don't chase losses. Book the win.
Dude, it's hard. It's hard, man. I've been in so many scenarios. Like I'm sure a lot of people have that gamble where, or I've been around people where they're down and they're down big, and you try to tell them like, hey man, there's always tomorrow. Like let's, you've lost a couple $1,000, you lost a couple $100. Like let's call it a night.
Yeah, book the loss. Put it behind you. Don't go on tilt.
But it's
easier said than done.
Yeah, and especially when it's someone else. Like, dude, one of my best friends in the world. One time we were in Atlantic City. We were going to watch one of my buddies fight, Jared Gordon. He's in the UFC now, but at the time he was fighting regionally, and he must have lost close to $2,000-$3,000 maybe. And I just remember him sitting at the blackjack table, and then he loses like one more hand, and he's down big. And I'm like, yo, bro, let's just go, man. It's like 4 a.m, dude. What are we doing? We'll play some tomorrow before we leave. And he was just like, yo, don't fucking tell me how to manage my money. I was like, all right. He was hammered.
Yeah.
So I wanna mention that too. He was tanked.
So he lost another $5,000.
Lost couple more $100, and then it turns out the next day he was like, yo, I wish I would have listened to you. But it's hard, dude. And in that heat of the moment, it's hard for someone to be able to not go on tilt because you're always gonna want to chase. Yeah. That's just it. It took me a while to get there, and I still look. I'm not Star Spangled Awesome by any means. Like I have those weekends where it happened this weekend in the UFC. Started off like 2-0, feeling really good. Then I have like 3 props in a row that were my favorite props on the card. I lost all 3. And then I was like, all right, this is my favorite. This is like my favorite fighter coming up. They lose. I'm like, what the hell? Now I'm down. I ended up chasing, and I got lucky because I still bet on the fights that I did like.
Just bet more.
But I just bet more. I did what we were talking about before. Cardinal sin is now you're betting more than what I used to.
I always joke with when I'm playing. It's like, you know what? I think we might be doing wrong. I'll tell my guys, I go, I think we need to bet more. That's what's wrong. And it's just all relative too. It depends on how much money you have and how big your bankroll is. Like when I was in like my 20s, like early 20s, me and my buddies came out to Vegas in the in the 80s, and we were in Prim, like driving back to California. I used to live in California, so we were in Prim, and we were out of gas and out of money. We had all lost everything, and we had to take the car stereo out of my Toyota Corolla. And we're walking around the parking lot trying to sell this car stereo that was worth like $100. We sold it for $20 for gas money to get back. That's called taking it too damn far. But I mean, losing probably what I lost that trip was maybe $500 or something like that, which at the time seemed like a lot of money. Nowadays, if I go to the casino and I only lose a couple $1,000s, I'm like, well, that was a pretty good day. I mean, it's crazy.
I have a set amount when I go gambling that I want to go and play and wager. Like I'll go when I used to come to Vegas with my buddies. I'd bring like the way I did it because I get asked this a lot, especially now that I live out here. Most common thing I get asked, Matt, is how much money should I bring to Vegas? And I always tell them, I don't know how you are.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends that love to gamble. I have friends that hate to gamble. And I'm talking about like the same friend group. I have friends that only want to eat at 5-star restaurants where it's like minimum 300 a plate.
Uh-huh.
Then I have other ones that are like happy with In-N-Out.
Yeah.
So it's a very
In-N-Out's good.
I don't know. I think you West Coast people are a little crazy with that one. You guys fucking love In-N-Out. I thought it was the most mid thing ever.
Really?
Yeah. I was not a fan. What'd I do wrong?
I don't know. I like In-N-Out. I mean, why they always have a line? I don't know. They're doing something right.
Probably had a bad experience then.
Yeah, maybe.
Because everyone that told me about In-N-Out, they're all West Coast people.
Maybe you ate it wrong. Try it again.
All right. I'll take your word up for it. Take your word up for it. But I get asked a lot about how much money they should bring to Vegas.
Yeah.
I always $500 a day was what my budget was when I would come and visit. I'm like, you know what? That's going to cover the gambling I want to do. It'll cover the pool party, eat. And then maybe if I know Friday night, the guys and I were going to go to a steakhouse. All right, maybe I'll bring an extra $500 for Friday. So now if I'm there for 4 days, I'm really bringing $2,500 as opposed to $2,000 because I know that one night I always like doing it with my friends, especially as we got older. It's, all right, man, if we're going to Miami, we're going to Vegas, we're going to Toronto, let's go to a nice place and eat. And let's get dressed nice. Let's not go in, wrestling T-shirts. That'll mostly be me going in wrestling T-shirts. But you know what I'm saying? Like looking the part and going out. So to me, it's very important to have that discipline of I don't swipe my credit card or debit cards when I go to a casino. First of all, I don't want to pay a $12 ATM fee.
Or a cash advance fee. I used to pay those suckers.
Yeah.
You get to certain levels, though, they'll reimburse you your cash advance fees. I don't know if you know that. Like if you're chairman at stations and you take a cash advance, like a $5,000 cash advance, you get a $349 fee. They'll give you that $349 right there.
Wow.
There's so many little things that I've learned about gambling just from hanging out with gamblers and so forth. I mean, like you said, use your card, get a player's card, get free parking. At Resorts World, you get free parking with a player's card. Not that hard to get a player's card. Might as well save $10 on parking. I mean, there's a million little rackets, that you can do to maximize the amount of money you make or minimize the amount you lose, maximize your benefits. It's a fascinating world. I really want to make a movie about the world of slot gambling. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize. I think it'll be like Rain Man meets the MIT card counting team. That's gonna be the working title of my movie.
That's one of my favorite movies, 21.
Oh, it was great.
Good.
Awesome movie. Yeah. I was so bummed at the end when that dude went up in the roof and all that cash was gone. I was like, no, he lost it.
Great movie on the MIT team.
Yeah,
very good.
There is stuff like that in the slot world that people have no idea about. It is really interesting. I mean, I've heard tales, like friends of friends, whatever. Like someone figured out a way to beat an electronic. I think it was a electronic baccarat. There was something with the tie. I forget what it was, but there was like a little thing that they exploited and ended up winning several $100,000. And then they took the dude into the bowels of the casino and beat him up. And this is not 20 years ago. This is in the last couple of years.
Damn.
Right. I mean, there's injury. There's people been followed home and killed. I mean, crazy stuff. There's definitely a movie to be made about the slots, and there's so much stuff that people don't know about. So if there's any executive producers in Hollywood or whoever's still making movies, George Lucas, whoever it is, Steven Spielberg, some younger guy, Quentin Tarantino, talk to me about making the Slot 21 Rain Man movie. It's gonna kill.
Yeah, I would advise people if they ever get a big score to not go and cash it by themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you just gotta be careful.
I'd probably bring all the guys from my gym. They're all fighters.
Yeah.
and like jiu-jitsu black belts.
Yeah.
But hey, man, I'm gonna go collect 100K. I'll toss you guys each like 2K as like my security.
Right. You see these guys like
I don't want to walk out of the casino with 100K and be like, yo, man, I'm gonna need some help. So I'm gonna have the homies from the gym be my escort.
So anyone wants to know, I always leave all my money at the cage. I got, I don't carry around a bunch, but these guys that like carry around $1 million and all this crazy stuff you see on TikTok,
they're
that is crazy.
Asking for it, and then they're confused when they get held up and they get robbed.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no shit, I could have told you that.
Right.
You're walking around with
$1 million
duffel bags and whatnot. It's just crazy. It's
Yep.
just crazy. Give me one more do's and don'ts before we wrap up.
Oh, let me think.
What's a do?
Oh, okay.
I know we mentioned the player's card, but give me one that's like a.
Okay, tell you one that I know that like a lot of people don't know this, and I didn't know this until the last couple years. When you walk into the casino, swipe your player's card. Most casinos have a kiosk, okay, and you swipe your player's card, and it has like different promotions. I'm a local, so I play at station casinos a lot. They have great slot machines, and I think they do a great job in their slots. On Thursdays and Sundays at station casinos, they have 10 times points, okay? So, but you don't get the 10 times points unless you swipe your card and activate that promotion. So I see people all the time coming in, they're playing with their card, and I say, did you swipe your card on a Sunday or a Thursday? They say, no, what do you mean? They don't even know. But if like when I play on a 10 times points night, the way I play, at the end of the session, I might have $800 on a 10x points night that you can convert to cash or free play or merchandise or comps, whatever you want. $800 on a non-10 times points day, that'd be $80. So you're making like $720 on my average session just because I remember to swipe my card. So always swipe your card. It's another one of the 10 commandments.
I love it. That's a good one. Yeah, I've had times where I wasn't gambling, but I was just there with my friends, and I told them, yo, you have your card? No. All right, here, just take mine.
Use mine, yeah. Then you get a $80,000 hand pay, and then you're on the hook for the taxes.
Damn, you're right. All right, I'm going to have to reach out to some of my friends that I had to have it with.
Be careful with that.
Dude, this is a fun conversation. I think with gambling, betting becoming more and more popular, it's advertised now on every commercial break. You see online sports books. Obviously, we're in Vegas, betting capital of the world. I think there's a lot of goodies in this. I mean, you have me tempted to go play slots now.
It's crazy how many people watch our stuff every single day, and they just love watching the action. I mean, there's a huge community. I think my reach now is getting close to 1 million people watch. I had 50 million views last month, and people love gambling. They love watching it even, So like I bet with my money, they just bet with their mind. I lose my money, they lose their mind, I like to say. It's a lot of fun, and I hope I can just continue doing it for a while. And I just appreciate people watching it and stuff. And if if anybody wants to follow me, just like vegasmatt.com is my website.
And they can find all the social media.
Yeah, all the socials.
Nice.
The biggest one I think is YouTube. I think that's the most fun to watch. It's like you're going to see the most stuff. Really get a feel for how the life of an everyday gambler is. And I'm at Vegas Matt on YouTube. I even in the process, I trademarked Vegas Matt. Anyway, it's all kind of fun. This has just been, to be in this studio here at the Wynn and talking to you, this has been really cool. I appreciate Nick having me on, and yeah, it's awesome. I love gambling. If you love gambling, follow my stuff. Go to vegasmatt.com. You can buy a Sando t-shirt.
Let's get it, man. I love it. Thank you for coming in. This was a fun conversation. At Nick Dais 10 is where you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum is at Veterans Minimum on social media. We are coming back later this week. NBA Finals update. I do think the finals are going to be over by the next time that you guys hear this podcast. And just a heads up, from now until the end of the year, there are giveaways on the Patreon, patreon.com. Shout out to Dylan Chadwick. You won the UFC pay-per-view last week. We sent you over some money on PayPal to enjoy. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And at the end of the month, in the $5, the $20, and the $40 tier, someone's going to get selected to win either a tank top or a bomber jacket, which, fun fact, Matt, I don't even have either of those. So someone is going to get that before I do. It's crazy, but that's how much we're giving back. So patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. Get access to the Discord, and you'll be getting episodes early every week for the rest of the year. So there's one up right now that's coming out later next week, and then just moving forward. So thank you all for listening. Thanks again to Vegas Matt coming in. We'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you.